Hello-y. I hope you enjoyed doing the flippy flappy thingy yesterday. One of the things that I did forget to mention, which I did say that I would, was I said I would tell you where to put the magnets. Didn't do that, did I? So, when you put this top flap down, or the bottom flap down, and then the top flap down, obviously this is the point where these two meet, is where you would need to do your magnets. So you just get a pencil and you would do it on the underside of each, on this piece. So you would place a magnet here because you want it far enough down, sorry, so you can see far enough down that it's not near the edge of the paper, but also remember we are cutting out a mount that is going to be smaller than the face of this. So you need to make sure that it's far enough down that the mat that you cut out will cover over the top of that as well. All right, so it might even need to be a touch further down than that as well. Once you've put that magnet on, you can then put your micropore tape on the top of that, attach your next magnet onto that, put some glue on the end of it, and then shut that top flap down. When you lift it up, the magnet will either have stuck or it will have left a mark with the glue on it, and it will be, let's have a look, round about there. So that's far enough away from the edge of the card here that it's not going to poke out anywhere, right? And then you would put your matte paper on top of that and your matte paper on top of that, and then those two will then stick together. So apologies for having missed that bit out. Now on to today's little doings, and today's little doings is this little doings, and this little doings is an envelope book. Now the envelope book itself is actually really easy. What I really want to teach you is how to do this. Now mine is massive and it shouldn't really be, this is too big, so I'm actually going to take mine out and redo it. But it's to show you the swing tab, so as you can see that swings to be able to close the booklet. So that swings round, so then you can open up your booklet to all its pages. All right. Now this initial one was made with an envelope. So let me move that out of the way. So the envelope again, we've got the flap, and I'm having that on the bottom on the one that I just showed you in the book. So I folded that in half that way. So then you've got this as a little pocket here. All right. You could have it that way. So then you've got a flat surface here, and then when you open it up, you've got a little pocket on the inside. I also cut across the top here to open the envelope up, so then you've got access from the top to the inside of the envelope on both sides. I then went through my scrap bag and cut several pieces of paper, various sizes, so long as they weren't bigger than the overall size of the envelope, folded them in half and sat them on top of here. And here's one I prepared for you earlier. So this is a different type of envelope because this was just a straight flap envelope. So I've actually got a flat surface here and a flat surface here. All right, so I haven't got the triangle point bit. I also, once after I'd trimmed off the top edge, I did the thumb holes here at the top so that I've got access with the thumb hole. So then if I've got anything that just sticks slightly above, I can grab hold of it to pull it out. I cut a few sheets of my scrap paper up. And I'm going to sit those in the middle there and just make sure that I'm happy with the alignment of them all. Okay, then got my bit of foam and I've got my pokey tool. That's my big bit of foam. And I'm just going to punch 2 holes down that crease line. I'm not going to measure because I don't need to. I just need to make sure that I've got 2 little holes down there. I've got my needle and thread and I'm going to poke it through that hole, but not pull it all the way through. And then I'm going to turn it over and poke it through that hole. And then pull on those 2 threads and knot them. So it's just a very simple stitch to just hold them in place. Now you might need an extra pair of fingers to hold your knot so that you can do another knot then on top of it, and then just trim off your strings. Ooh, it's escaping, it's trying to escape. It's like, no, don't do that. Okay, so that's my simple booklet. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Okie dokie. Of course, because the string is now showing on the side slightly, I could put some washi tape on there. I could get a piece of paper. In fact, let's just do that. So if I get a piece of paper and just trim it so that it's that long. Ooh, cut that at a skewy angle, look. Okay, so then I can then wrap that around just that part there, and then I could glue that down, trim it down, so trim off this excess, and then just glue that down in position there, and I'm hiding this stitching then out of the way. Alright, now this is the bit that I want to show you how to do. This will then be stuck into your book again by either placing glue over the whole of that face or around 3 sides so that you've got another pocket behind it, or around 1, 2, 3 sides that way, so then you've got another hidden pocket behind there. Alright, so that will be glued into your book. What you then need to make is the swingy taggy thing. Now you need a brad and you need circle punches and you need scissors and you need a pokey tool. Now if you haven't got a pokey tool, you can just use a needle or a pin to poke a hole in it. Now you need 3 circles. Alright, I'm using my 1/2 inch punch. I originally used this punch, which I think is 1 inch. Where's my ruler? Yeah, it's 1 inch. Yep, so that's a 1 inch, that's a 1/2 inch. Now the 1 inch was too big, so I need 3 circles. 1, 2, 3. Now I'm using what's left over of my file folder because that's a firm enough card, but it's also thin enough that when I put all these layers together, then it's not too bulky. I then need a bigger circle. So here's one I punched earlier. Now what you can do is, I hope you can see this, you can insert this circle punch in there. And can you see that? I've only got part of the circle showing, and if I hold it there, can you see it forms like a leaf shape? Punch it so that I've now got 1/2 moon left and a leaf shape. So that's handy to know for making leaves in itself, but it also then becomes a pointer. Let me just see if I can, that will do. I rest it on this because then you should be able to see better. Okay, there is another way to do a leaf shape, and that is you need a rectangle. I'm just going to trim a little bit of this off because it's a touch too big. Alright, and I am going to cut from this point down here, the bottom left hand point, up to the top right point. And I'm going to cut it in a curve. Alright, now I'm going to cut from the top right point down to the bottom left point. Now you don't get as perfect a shape, but you still end up with a leaf shape. Alright. You might decide that as the pointer, the smaller one, might be too small to hold your booklet down. Because basically we're putting the circle there, the pointer, and the pointer will sit on top of the booklet. Right, so you need to make sure that this is big enough to sit on top of the booklet to hold it in place. So what we need to do now is punch a hole, or poke a hole, and I'm using a teeny tiny brad. Get one of my coppery ones. So I am going to use that size brad. Tiny, isn't it? Yeah. So let me turn that lid over and put you in there so I don't lose you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a circle on there, and then I'm going to put my leaf on top of that. But I've got to make sure that that leaf point comes in from the centre. Let me draw you a bigger version. Where to put my pencil? Let's use that pen. So if that's your circle, if you imagine that's the centre point, that leaf shape has got to come beyond this centre point, because we don't want to poke a hole right on the very tip of the leaf. We want it to be further up. And then we're going to stick another circle then on top of that. So we've got 3 layers here at the moment: circle, leaf, circle, but making sure that the leaf is beyond that centre point. And then I'm going to poke a hole in the centre of that circle right the way through all 3 layers, and do it slowly. So can you see I've gone through all 3 layers? So then when I lift it up, I'm just going to check and put it on there for you to see. Can you see now that that little hole is not right on the very point? It's a little bit further down. So I'm going to put my brad into my circle. Need nimble fingers for this bit. Yeah. Into my circle, then my leaf, and then the circle. Okay, so that's joined all 3 together, and then I'm going to open the prongs on the brad. This is where having nails comes in handy, Amanda. Now these prongs I don't want very long, and I'm actually going to trim them down. So again, like yesterday's video, was it yesterday's? Yeah, it was. I'm going to use a pair of scissors that don't really matter, and I'm going to put the prong right at the far end of the blade and cut, but I'm going to move it away from me because I don't want that little piece shooting up into my eyes. And then I'm going to turn it, and I'm going to do the same on the opposite prong as well, because we don't want these prongs extending beyond the circle. Okay, so let me put it on there. Can you see how I've cut those prongs down? Right. Now if I was to stick that directly to my page, I've got the problem again of those prongs could poke through the paper. So this is what your third circle is for. We are going to glue the third circle to the back of the circle with the prongs. So I might need to just hold on to that for a bit. Try it with a bigger circle first, because obviously it's easier to work with than the smaller circles. I'm just going to get the page out of my signature. Okay. So, a little booklet is going to sit in the centre of the page. And my little pointer is going to sit over the top of the booklet to hold it in place. I hope you can see that, because as I say, it is teeny tiny. Right, so that's going to sit there. So I just need to decide where everything's going to go, because that leaf is going to lift up off the paper because of the depth of the booklet. So I don't want it right up close, I want it a little bit further away so that it's using sort of just the tip of the leaf, sorry, shadow. Can you see that? So I know that that is going to sit there. So I'm going to put glue on the back circle, which is now covering over the prongs. I'm going to sit that on there. And again, you just have to hold it and wait for the glue to set off. Now, I didn't stick my booklet down, so I'm just going to put some glue on the back of here. And I'm going to do a secret sideways pocket. So I'm going to put my glue on like that. And then I'm going to stick my book on like that. So then, you see how that now swings round that leaf? See how it swings? Because it's layered between the two circles, and then with the third circle protecting your page from the prongs of the brad. And so that now just holds that in place. Of course, you can punch this out of decorative papers if you want. Or you can ink up all the edges, or you can do a little bit of doodling on there, some faux stitching, and don't forget as well, you could put a little edge on the side of your booklet here. Okay, but that was the main thing that I wanted to teach you, was this little leaf and some circles make a nice little swing tag. Have fun, see you tomorrow, bye.